before really getting into why, I'm just going to say up front that Ghost of Tsushima is quite easily my favourite game to release this year. Um, we've had a decent first half of the year, but at the same time it's been a little bit lacking. However, Ghost of Tsushima launching at any time of this generation would 100% get my attention and not only approval but my recommendation as one of the best open world games to release since Horizon Zero Dawn. So in Ghost of Tsushima, it is made by Sucker Punch, and you play as Jin, who at the start of the game you battle Mongols and essentially you lose and arrive on this island of Tsushima, and from there you must battle your personal, let's say, your personal struggles with being a samurai and what that means, and also what you must do at any cost to stop the Mongols who have taken your uncle and has started their invasion on Japan. Within there, if you've seen the game, you may think it's a very deliberate type of game in terms of its combat, in terms of its structure. But once you get into it, you start to realize it is very much, as I've been saying to myself, it's a very gamey game. It's a massive open world, like it's a surprisingly large open world. However, that is one of the most beautiful open worlds I have ever played. What you're seeing here and what I've played is the base PS4 alone, and I was still wowed a number of times on hardware that is 7 years old. So put in mind what that will look like on PS4 Pro, what it may look like on PS5 if it ever comes to PC. This is a game I would love to return to over and over again for a number of reasons. But as I said, this is a very gamey game, and what I mean by that is you are given this open world map and there are a lot of small things to do and collect. There's nothing here in Ghost of Tsushima that you really haven't seen before, apart from some really smart design choices. Things like side missions falling into things called tails, and it being structured like side missions have been given their own bit of attention and sort of stance in the game, to the point where everything feels substantial. And this is something I felt like you start to see from games like The Witcher 3, where side missions could tell their own stories, and in here they do. They're called tales, and some of them are single part, some of them are multi-part, and every single one of them is an absolute, like, genuinely joy to go through, because it just unravels more about the world, about the people, and this is something you want to know about. Like, this story of, I wouldn't say revenge, but fighting and resistance and learning what it means to abide by the samurai code and why that's good, why that's not good, why he becomes the Ghost of Tsushima. It's so worth investing every moment of this game to that, whether it is the story mode or whether it is the tales or whether it's the mythic tales, which will unlock more of the quote unquote supernatural part of samurai. But it's just such a brilliant structure to that. The main campaign is always enjoyable and always does enough to push you forward. It may not always hit the same notes, or at least the intended impact, in particular when it comes to questioning your samurai nobility to fight Mongols by taking to the shadows and becoming more of a stealth assassin game. However, the actual gameplay itself as well is just, it's so much more than I thought it was going to be. When you first start the game, you're given these prompts when the enemy's attacking with red, which indicates you're supposed to dodge. And other than that, you can kind of, I wouldn't say hack and slash, but you can sort of pay attention and know when to block, when to attack, and when to like get out of the way. However, as the game progresses, you learn more abilities. You never get stronger. That's another thing. There are no stats really to this game. You don't get stronger, you don't get faster just by leveling up or whatever it is. Instead, what you do is you learn the enemy and you learn their attacks, their movements, their strategies essentially, and you can get overwhelmed if you walk into a base. Like, it's not a matter of, hey, it's just one-on-one. Like, it's not to the point where 6 people will just start attacking you, but they will in a way become mobile in the sense that they will know when to attack, then to move out of the way, and the next person can go in and attack, and so forth. There's also archers in the game, and should they go to attack, they will shout. So the other members will know that they're about to shoot to get out of the way, and this is the perfect like audio cue for you to learn their movements. So not only can you focus on what's happening directly around you in a very close range, you can also sort of get a better understanding of what's happening farther away, where archers maybe they're up on a perch or they're just at the back of the group. There's just so much in the combat then as well when you learn stuff. Learn new abilities which will resolve. As you learn new stances, it'll help you take out different enemies. So it almost becomes a strategic puzzle in the sense of different enemies will require different approaches, change of stances, different weapons in terms of it being your katana or your bow and arrow, or it could be even stuff like your black powder bombs. There's so many different approaches to combat, and it all feels methodical without it feeling unfair or frantic. You can take your time, learn enemies, movements, and every single enemy has a distinctive approach to being taken down, essentially. But as I said, with the game and the world, it is a massive world. You're expecting a few dozen hours here. But as you progress through the world and you take down leaders, you will unlock more stances, as I alluded to. This will help you take out different enemies. So you could end up having a stance that's a bit more fast and offensive. You could end up having a stance that is a bit more reactive to the enemy's attacks, and then you could even have stances like, for instance, the wind stance, which is perfect against spearmen who can kind of attack you at a bit more of a distance. As you sort of progress and you gain your legend, you will unlock new stances, you will unlock new abilities like being able to throw wind chimes or kunai. You will get technique points. These technique points can help you learn new moves and abilities, and you can essentially build your character the way you want them to. But like I said, you never gain new stats yourself. You can level up your weapons by collecting supplies and iron and leather in the world. You can end up going to certain people then to level up. Like I said, this is a game. Everything you expect from the game is here. Like, it has the open world, it has the side missions, it has the random encounters, it has collectibles, it has I guess supplies and material that can be then used to upgrade your character, or at least their armor and weapons. However, the one thing I haven't even touched on yet, which I will, is just how absolutely beautiful this game is. I talked about how great it looked and I can't wait to see it on PS4 Pro and the PS5, but I never said why. And it's not really it's not even the technical side. Technical looks great, some textures can be a bit muddy, animation's not always perfect. It's the art style. The art style is quite possibly the best I've seen in a game, man, maybe this generation, but in years. I love just being in this world. I love just getting on my horse and exploring the world and just taking in things like the massive open fields with the grass and the flowers just blowing in the wind, which, by the way, the wind is essentially used as your waypoint indicator. So when you put a waypoint on the map, you swipe up on the touchpad and the wind will blow the grass and everything around you in the direction you're supposed to go. Brilliant, genius little touch that helps game design feel a lot more integrated into the world itself, rather than it just putting up a bunch of UI elements. Anyway, the world is just so beautiful and large. I love just climbing, finding new heights, and sometimes the camera would pull out when it's showing you a vista, and that was just incredible every single time. Like, I love just exploring this world. It is a huge world as well, which makes it even better. This isn't a game though you will rush through. This isn't a game that will pull you forward all the time due to its missions or its story. Instead, what it does is it wants you to take your time. Well, it feels like it. It feels like it wants you to take your time to consume, to enjoy and stew on every little thing they offer you. Even if you don't have a vested interest in samurai and the Mongols and everything that happened there, just the world itself, just the gameplay alone, everything here is just fantastically done, and I loved my time with this to the point where I can't wait to just continue on, do absolutely everything there is in the game. And that's not something I normally do. This isn't, usually I review a game to completion and do some of the side stuff just to make sure I've seen a bit of everything. And the thing is you kind of do see everything pretty early on. And oh my god, I just realized the one thing I didn't even mention about the gameplay, which is one of the coolest parts, is when you come up on a group of enemies, you can press up on the D-pad to do a thing called standoff. So part of the samurai code is you basically you face your enemy eye to eye. You look them in the eyes, you fight them. You look them in the eyes, you kill them. It's all about respect and honor. And you can just press up on the D-pad, and it sort of hits. It creates this little half mini cutscene type thing where you walk up to the enemies, and one enemy gets ready and goes to attack you, and should you let go, you hold onto the triangle button, and should you let go at the right time, you will kill him instantly and and get all your resolve back, which your resolve is used to heal. There are no potion drinkings or anything like that. You resolve to heal, you get more resolve points as time goes on, your health increases as you find more things. They're the only sad things, but nothing base about your character changes. But anyway, it is just a fantastic game. I could talk about this game probably for an hour about why I love it. I just think it's an incredible looking game that plays really well, that has its flaws. Some combat scenarios and gameplay can be a little buggy, I guess. Performance can every now and then just dip a little in my experience, but I am on the lowest console. I am on a base PS4, so take that in. Vast majority of my play was also before release, so that could be all fixed with day one patches, but yeah, it's been my favorite game this year and one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives in years. I love this game. I think it's just brilliant.